We sitting in here, we excited as hell.
Now it's time to get to work. Are you a happy guy?
Oh my goodness, let's go!
I haven't felt joy talking about the Jets in a long time. When they announced it, I went, yeah! Jets, let's go! A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chat, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now. Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. It is indeed the Jake Asman Show presented by PrizePicks. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And a reminder that our next event is August 1st at the Cloverleaf Tavern after the Jets have their only open practice for fans who aren't season ticket holders that morning. We will be at the Cloverleaf Tavern right after. Free event, Chef Kevin's restaurant. So come hang out with your fellow Asmaniacs and enjoy some good food, some good drinks, and some good times at the Cloverleaf Tavern. RSVP, if you're going to join us, it's free to attend. The link is in the description. Speaking of events, I got to hang out with this guy in Atlantic City last weekend. It's our guy from the New York Post, the Gangs All Here podcast, Ryan Sampson. Ryan, I know that you had a wild weekend, but not because you were getting too crazy, because Frankie V was out of his mind and you had to try and reel him in.
It was like my number one duty was babysitter duty for Frankie V, who is now in Italy right now. He's sipping wine, probably poolside in Italy right now. But yeah, that was quite an experience. Jake, put on an incredible event. It was awesome connecting with a lot of the fans and a lot of Jets fans, just being able to talk some ball, talk about life, and then get to have some drinks with everyone. I partied hard. Don't you worry. I was still recovering till about Wednesday last week before I started feeling like myself. But AC did me dirty, and you put a great party, man.
I appreciate you being there. It was awesome to hang with you. And I just wish I knew you were winning all this money at the craps table. I could have brought, Corbett over to that. We were playing blackjack the whole time.
Did pretty well. I can't complain. Had a good night gambling, so I'll take that as a win for myself. And look, when you asked me to come on, I put myself on the green screen. Figure I'd keep us green for the Jets because we're about to talk about some Jets training camp football here, man.
That's right. Keep the vibes green here for the Jets. I mean, look, the Jets enter training camp. The one big story that was potentially hovering over them was Geno Smith. It sounds like they avoided any nightmare scenario where he's charged with any wrongdoing. So he's going to be full go, ready to go when the Jets start training camp. Looking at where this team is at, Ryan, you were optimistic a year ago, and it ended up being a disaster. Now you're a little more pessimistic, of course, after last year. But kind of break down your feeling as a fan going into this, how you feel about the team.
Ooh, you're like the second or third person that's asked me this in the last 3 days, including my brother, who's a dire Jets fan just like us. I've never felt so meh, if that's a way to describe it, in terms of my feelings heading into a training camp about a Jets team. I think I feel this way just because we've been there, done that with Geno when he was a rookie, first, second, third year, and he went off, did the rest of his career, and now he's back. I am not expecting a great quarterback or a great quarterback play out of Geno. I'm expecting mediocre, average, maybe sometimes above average. He'll occasionally play well, but that to me is kind of tempering my expectations for this Jets team this year. I think a lot of Jets fans, we always get into this way when we're getting into the season. This is the year. They can be good. They can be competitive. They have a chance. I like a lot of the young pieces they brought in. Those are all things that I fully believe. Yes, I do really like the pieces they brought in. I could get into that in a little bit later, but I think people are still forgetting this was a team that won 3 football games last year. They brought in a quarterback that was on the worst team in football last year in the Raiders with Geno Smith, who had 17 interceptions, mind you, last year. And this is a defense that couldn't turn the ball over. And that's the way you're going to win football games, is you're going to have to turn the opposing team over. And if you can't create turnovers, you're putting your offense in long field positions, which I think is going to make it tough for them to have consistent offensive production. And Aaron Glenn, for all intents and purposes, is coaching for his job security. This is a man who is on the hot seat. We talked about it with Kaz a couple weeks ago in Gangsville here. He's like, yeah, Everyone knows he is coaching for his job, to his career, his future. This is really his chance. If he doesn't have a good second year or even average second year or show some improvement, there's a good chance he's never coaching in the NFL again or as a head coach in the NFL ever again. So that's why I think all those elements, Jake, have me very tempered with my expectations. And not to mention the fact there's that quarterback spot that we dream of, that next quarterback to get drafted. The 2027 draft is just looming over us. The storylines are incredible for us. What are we rooting for on Saturdays, quarterback-wise? What are we going to do on Sundays, rooting for the Cowboys to lose games, or the Packers to lose games, or for the Colts to lose games? The Jets, obviously, where they're going to be in the tank position, because there's so many outcomes that can happen. It's tough for me to root against this Jet team because I won't. I never will. I've never been that way. I want them to win, but I have a realistic approach now after being knocked on my ass last year, as I admittedly am, because I was so wrong about what Aaron Glenn was and what this team was going to be last year. I have to now temper my expectations going into 2026/27 because I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but that's just kind of where I'm coming from as a Jets fan.
And I think you represent how a lot of fans are feeling because you wanted to believe in Aaron Glenn. He wanted the job, former Jet, rah-rah guy, said all the right things, and it went as bad as it did in his first year. For you, Ryan, as someone who obviously is rooting for the Jets, as am I, what would you need to see from this head coach this year where not that he's coming back, but you would actually want him to be back for a third year?
I want to see this defense actually improve, Jake. They invested a ton in this defense, and I mean a lot in terms of trade capital. They traded Jermaine Johnson, a guy that I don't think was a good fit for Aaron Glenn's defense, and they brought in a guy in Savondre Sweat, who you hope is a big fit, a young player that hasn't reached his full potential, you would hope, and I want him to make a real impact. He's my guy as a sleeper that I think can make a real impact on this defense. I'm interested to see how he can use David Bailey and Will McDonald along with the big free agent players that they signed, and Engbari and Joseph Osai. Those are guys who all have to rotate and make real impact both in the run game, right? Because, Jake, they could not stop their run, nor could they stop the pass, to be honest with you. They're one of the worst defenses in the NFL, but they have to be able to show. I want to see what Aaron Glenn does, calling the shots, and how he can manage that, because I think that will keep him more in tune with the game and understanding what's the game flow, what's the script look like, is our defense gas? Do we need to be more aggressive against these quarterbacks? What's this kicking situation? I think all of those things are going to come into play for Aaron Glenn to hopefully manage the game better and not be so much that CEO type, but more, I'm focused on the defense. I know Frank Reich's taking care of the offense. We're going to marry those things together, and hopefully that can produce more wins for us. So I don't know. I mean, obviously you want more wins, right? Like you want to see them win 5, 6, 7, 8 games. But I don't know if I can measure success that way. I think real success, Jake, for Aaron Glenn would be show that you were that promising young defensive coordinator like you were in Detroit along with New Orleans, and prove that you can call a strong defense, because I have serious question marks about this defense, and I don't think we're talking enough about it. There's a lot of questions about Demario Davis in terms of at age 37, I believe, like, can he still be a productive player? I mean, he's shown he can be, right? Like everything that you've seen so far is Demario Davis is still going to continue to be him, but there is a cliff that is called time. Like it comes for all of us, and for athletes, it comes for all of them, where all of a sudden your production just drops off a cliff and you're not the player you were. And I'm fearful that could happen this year with Demario Davis. And what is Jamie Sherwood playing next to Davis? Does he improve? The secondary, again, no interceptions last year. It's a crazy thing that we have to continue to say to each other. The Jets did not have one interception. Like you've got to realize they have to be able to turn the ball over. It's a lot of pressure on D'Angelo Pons to step in and be a starter, a rookie year one. But what is this secondary looking like with the new pieces they've added with Pons and Minkah Fitzpatrick? I don't love the safeties we have. Like, serious question marks about this defense. Serious question marks. Aaron Glenn has to show he has the chops to call this defense, and if they can actually create turnovers. That's how, in my opinion, he would show that he's actually a good football coach and belongs as a head coach. That's my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's how I feel about that.
What does Aaron Glenn have to do to save his job? Well, I would say this. Getting off to a good start, Ryan, I think is paramount. It can't be anything close to what it was last year with 0-7. And you look at the schedule right out of the jump. You're playing Saleh week 1. For all of Saleh's issues, I know the man can coach defense. I know he had the Jets at 6-3 in his second year with Zach Wilson as his starter, 7-4 with Mike White before he got hurt, and then it fell apart. But at least we had a season.
Yeah.
Like, win week 1 if you're Aaron Glenn. Put to bed the 0-7 last year, all the bad, awful vibes of how the final 5 games went at the end of last season. Show things are different. I've gotten pushback from some, including people around the Jets for this, but I stand by it. I think week 1 is as close to a must-win as you can have in a season opener. I think it's that gigantic of a game early on.
I mean, look, you're going up against a quarterback who struggled tremendously last year, right? In Cam Ward, and 2 coaches that were fired here in New York, in Saleh and Brian Daboll, who's calling the offense over there. So you want to be able to show, if you're Aaron Glenn, how do I stop this offense, right? Like, how do I contain Carnell Tate? How do I make sure I don't get burned deep by Cam Ward using his legs and getting out of the pocket, and I'm not be able to get pressure on him to force. He could turn the ball over, make the young guy to force turnovers. It's a new offense for him. He's got to learn the Brian Daboll terminology and be able to show that he can be an effective quarterback. So, yeah, I agree with you, Jake. Go win week 1. Go beat the young quarterback that's trying to prove himself in this league. You have this opportunity. Robert Saleh, I think, is still trying to import a ton of the defensive players on his side of the ball. We've seen who they've invested in, former Jets and former Giants players to be on that side of the ball. So it's definitely a must-win, especially if Aaron Glenn wants to prove that he belongs as a head coach. That's his opportunity to make a statement week 1. Go out there and win. I don't even care, Jake, if it's a last-second field goal. Just win the football game, because at that point, you will show to us as Jets fans, all right, maybe he's as tough as he says he is. He got grinded out a win. If he grinded out a win, Jake, I think you and I would be like, hey, credit to Aaron Glenn. Going on the road, winning week 1 in Tennessee with Robert Saleh with his new team. He's going to have it. He's going to have his guys riled up. I mean, they're honoring Chris Johnson before the game. It's going to be an emotional crowd. The fans are going to be into it. And then Saleh, he has all the motivation in the world to beat the former team that, Woody Johnson fired him a couple of weeks into the season for. So, yeah, it's a must-win.
If you don't win week 1, you play the Packers, the Lions, the Bears all in a row, and why would anyone expect you to be, at best, anything better than 1-3 to start the year? But if you win week 1, maybe you build some momentum. Maybe you could be 2-2 through 4. You're playing the Browns at home week 5. Could you be 3-2? And then if you lose to the Pats, you're 3-3, but then you have Miami and Vegas in your building. I mean, there's winnable games there. Again, if the Jets are supposed to be this improved team with a real coaching staff and a real quarterback who could complete a pass, right? Woody Johnson tried to put it all on Fields last year. Well, Geno Smith and this roster, I think, is at least good enough where we could properly evaluate who Aaron Glenn is as a head coach. We had last year. It was awful. You got to basically hit the redo button on basically everything. If they get out to another awful start, we already have our answer. And at that point, I know no one wants to root for losses, but to me, that's the best thing for the Jet organization. If they start 0-4 and they're out of it, I'd be rooting against them every single week at that point.
I know, but it's a tough proposition to do that, right? Because then you're going to start turning players off that you don't want to turn off. Like, I worry about Garrett Wilson tremendously. Like, I do. Like, Geno, like, I know it's tough to hear, but like, I know he signed an extension, but that's not going to stop players from requesting out. We saw what happened to A.J. Brown. He requested out after 2 years after signing the deal with the Eagles. So I think you have to be careful, right, with like losing culture, because you also want to show that you can end this, despair, depressive, just ugly culture that's been here now for years and decades of losing. You want to show that you can get out of it. And you want to show Garrett Wilson, hey, if you're going to lead this team and prove that you're truly an elite wide receiver, go out there, ball out, help us win some football games. And that, I think, in turn, will take care of that culture issue that we're talking about so much, about what's wrong with this Jets culture. They got to win more football games to show that they can do it, and that some of these young guys aren't just going to remain to be those. Because I don't want to lose Garrett Wilson. Like, there's There's no guarantee that guy's not going to go into this year. If they start 1-7, like you're talking about, Jake, he could be looking at I don't want to stick around with another rookie quarterback and have them have to mentor that guy. He might want out. I'm not saying I don't know anything. I'm just you put that on the table in today's NFL and today's modern athlete. These guys don't want to stick around when they're losing this much, especially with how bad it's been. Like, I'm happy Garrett's finally going to have somewhat of a competent quarterback, right? Like, you think about he had Aaron Rodgers, but we all know when Devontae Adams came in, he was pushed aside as the number 2 option, which frustrated Garrett. He's truly the number 1 here. You got Geno Smith's going to try and get you the ball a bunch. Go out there and ball out. That's all I got to say. Like, just you got to try and prove that you can win some football games here. I am curious, though, for you. Are you worried at all the fact that they don't have a real backup quarterback? I mean, Geno, he gets hurt sometimes. He gets banged up, and he's got some barky knees, and he's literally one bad hit away from Cade Klubnik being the starting quarterback every week.
Doesn't it feel like Cade Klubnik is going to get like the first week or so of training camp to see where he's at? And if he's not ready, then it's, hey, Cooper Rush, you're out there. Hey, Andy Dalton, Frank Reich's offense. The Eagles have 4 quarterbacks. We'll bring you in. Because I'm with you, Ryan. I mean, if you're Aaron Glenn and your job is on the line, God forbid something happens to Geno Smith where he's unavailable for several games. I mean, that could be the difference in whether or not the Jets win those games and Glenn has a job next year.
You're not getting to the promised land, like you said, with Geno if he gets hurt. I mean, I think you're playing a dangerous game here, Jake. I think this feels very reminiscent of the fact that the Jets didn't take a quarterback in the draft again last year, until Cade Klubnik this past draft, but 2 years ago when Aaron Glenn decided not to draft a quarterback, right? Like I think they got to be a little bit smarter here and try to be a little bit more aggressive in finding a backup quarterback behind Geno Smith, because I just don't like the idea of Cade Klubnik being the starting quarterback for potentially, let's call it 7 or 8 weeks of the season. I mean, we didn't expect Brady Cook to play as many weeks as he did last year, right? And I understand they were quietly not tanking, but that's the problem with this season, Jake, is like if Geno goes out, you've lost the fan base. Like the fan base will have nothing to tune into offensively. I love Brees, I love Garrett, but you've seen it don't matter if you have if you have no actual quarterback back there, those guys are useless on offense. And it's tough for them to get going because teams are going to know I'm facing a quarterback that has no idea what the F he's doing back there. If Geno goes out and he gets hurt, Cade Klubnik, he's an unknown. And I think everyone that's saying, oh, Cade has a real chance to prove himself. You are on, you're trying to lean on the side of history that rarely ever happens. Like more often than not, I think fans don't understand. There's a reason quarterbacks go that late in the draft and they don't ever develop into a backup even or a starting quarterback. It rarely ever happens. And for this Jets team and franchise that has a history of proving they don't know how to develop quarterbacks, what makes you think that Cade Klubnik is going to change that whole history? Be realistic. The Jets need a better option at backup, in my opinion, just to be respectable on offense in case Geno goes down. Have a better plan there. That's what I'm asking them to do, because you're going to turn off all of the fans if Geno goes down with an injury. I'm forewarning everyone here. You're all going to be like us talking about where the Jets at in the tank by week 8 if Geno goes down with an injury. That's just the reality of the situation. And I don't want to live going from mid-October before Halloween, Jake, to the end of the season of where are the Jets in tankathon? Where are they at? How's the Packers pick look? How's the Cowboys pick look? How's the Colts pick look? Can the Jets package their way up past the Cardinals, who are probably going to be the number 1 pick this year? Aaron Glenn will lose his job, in my opinion, Jake, if he does not get a real backup quarterback, because you're tempting fate right there. You're tempting fate. That's all I'm going to say on the quarterback stuff, because it seriously is another huge concern of mine that they have not addressed the backup quarterback spot.
If you're watching this right now, make sure you click the thumbs up button and you're subscribed to the channel. Check out the Gangs Out Here podcast. Ryan Sampson, Frankie V, Brian Costello do an outstanding job. And Frankie V's favorite player is David Bailey, of course, the guy he wanted the Jets to take. I'm presented by PrizePicks. Use code HMA when you sign up, and you can go more or less on David Bailey's sack number here. So PrizePicks a little odd with this. It's 5.75, which you can't do in the NFL. It's either a half a sack or a full sack. There's no 3/4 of a sack. But for the sake of this conversation, Ryan, would you go more or less on the David Bailey number there? Because I'm going more. I think David Bailey gets at least 6 sacks as a rookie.
How many sacks did Will McDonald have his rookie year?
He didn't play a ton. So let's see. Will McDonald stats. His rookie year with the Jets, he had 3 sacks.
Okay. You would hope that David Bailey as the number 2 pick as more than that, right? 3 sacks.
He better.
I'm going to say over 5.75 sacks. I would say 6 to 8 sacks is a reasonable number for David Bailey. I don't think he reaches double digits. I think there's going to be a real eye from fans and from the reporters on how Bailey looks early on in practice with his first couple of reps, one-on-ones versus Membu and versus Olu-Fashanu, because that's going to be his real test, in my opinion, when the pads come on. How does this kid look against real NFL tackles? And those aren't bad tackles we're going up against every day, right? Like, those are guys you want him to go up against. Iron sharpens iron. There's truth in that matter. Over 5.75 sacks. I think that's a reasonable ask for David Bailey in his rookie season. Kaz hates putting pressure on these rookies. He prefers to wait and see approach, but I think you got to go over 5.75, especially when you draft the number 2 overall.
He's the second pick, Kaz. I mean, we got to put some expectations on him. They took him over any other player in the draft besides Fernando Mendoza.
Exactly. So you gotta think that the kid's got to produce. He's got to produce. I'm not asking for double-digit sacks, but if you give me 6 to 8 sacks, preferably 8, I think that's a pretty solid rookie season for the kid at number 2. You would hope he's on the ascending trajectory, obviously, because the Jets passed up on a lot of talented players that he's going to be compared to, especially the guy across the street in Narvel Reese. I would say over 5.75 sacks is fair.
Oh, yeah. If he's bad, we blame only one person and one person only. Frankie V, the tank man himself. We're blaming him because he is responsible if David Bailey is not any good. And
kept comparing him to Nick Bonino, I think, from the Broncos.
Yeah.
He kept comparing it to Nick Bonino. I'm like, oh, those are pretty big shoes to fill, buddy. I don't know if we're going to get there yet, but we'll see, man.
Lofty praise indeed. Couple quick hitters I got for Ryan here at the end. I want to remind people that we're headed to Vegas at the end of August. We're going to be attending Circus Contest Sign-Up Weekend, broadcasting our show from their radio row. All the info about Circus Sports betting contests are available at circusports.com. Of course, they got the Pro Football Picks Contest, the Circus Survivor, the Circa Grandissimo, $30 million in guaranteed prizes. Sign-ups start at $1,000. You got to sign up in Vegas to be in. So if you're a big-time football fan, football gambler, these are the best preeminent sports betting contests for you. Love Circa. Can't wait to be there at the end of August. Hopefully I win some money like Ryan did in Atlantic City. We're going to win some money in Vegas at Circus Sports. Check it out, circusports.com, for all the info on each of these awesome pro football betting contests. Ryan, besides David Bailey, who we just discussed, give me the Jet rookie that you were the most excited to see up close and really get to watch this year.
I mean, I feel like the popular pick is Kenyon Sadiq, but I think since that's such a popular pick for everyone, and I don't think he's actually going to play as much as people think, because I think Mason Taylor actually has a chance, considering they took him in the second round last year, to get more reps and actually be the starter. I'm going to say Omar Cooper, because I think Omar Cooper has a legit chance of being one of the starting 3, considering the depth chart that's right now in this Jets offense. So Omar Cooper Jr., I think, has some really special, fun tools. He can play inside, he can play outside. He's tough in the air with the catch. Not a big kid, but he's fast. I think Omar Cooper Jr. can carve himself into a nice role in this offense, more so than Kenyon Sadiq with Frank Reich, because again, the Sadiq pick still boggles my mind, drafting a tight end 16 overall when there are other players on the board like Mekhi Lemon that you could have drafted. But
do you like it better knowing they ended up with Cooper later on in the first round?
I do, right? But I still wonder how much this guy, there's only one ball, and you got Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, Omar Cooper Jr., Mason Taylor. How are you getting Sadiq the ball? His number 16 overall pick, you would hope he's getting the ball a ton. I don't think he's going to be Brock Bowers. Like, that's the truth. So Omar Cooper Jr. is my pick. I think he could be fun. I think he can make some plays in training camp where people go, whoa, look at that circus catcher. Whoa, he just burned Brandon Stevens downfield. Like, did everyone see that? Like, so I think he has a real chance of making an impact for this Jets offense, especially in year one.
Another quick hitter for you, and it's a perfect segue. Who is the number 2 pass catcher behind Garrett? When we look back on this year, we know Garrett's going to get the ball the most, assuming he's healthy. Who's number 2?
Are you talking about in just terms of receptions or production overall?
Let's say targets, because in production overall, I feel like you'd say Breece, right?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning. Is like Breece, I think, is actually going to be a pretty good receiving back again this year with Gino. I'll bite the apple. Adonai Mitchell. It's by the hype. Let's see what the kid's got. If you guys paid attention to 2022 Geno Smith, he was able to extend the field a ton with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He made some huge plays with those guys. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think, came the year after. I actually think there's a real chance for Adonai Mitchell. If he can realize his full potential, he could stretch the field, and Geno will throw the ball downfield to him. There will be some picks with that, but I think Adonai Mitchell, if he reaches that potential, you're talking about a legit number 2 to Garrett Wilson. He could be really a nice wide receiver for the Jets. And if they found him in a trade that ultimately netted them 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell that turned into a real number 2, it's a home run. It's a home run trade from Darren Muji. So I'll bite the apple. I'll say Adonai Mitchell has a real chance at being the number 2 pass catcher behind Garrett.
I like that. What a win that Sauce trade would be if he emerges into that and Sadiq and still one more first. So that'd be awesome. Give me a player that's flying under the radar that most fans aren't talking about that you're excited about.
Who's a player that's flying under the radar? I mean, it'd be chalk for me to say Tavondre Sweat.
That's a good one, though, because I think people forget they were so early on in the offseason. The Jets traded Jermaine Johnson for him.
Again, he was my breakout guy in the offseason when we talked about top breakouts for the Jets this upcoming season. I just like the player a lot. The film that I watched on him, this guy's he is a mauler. He is a straight up game wrecker. The him not being in shape, the questions about his attitude and mentality. I think those are legit, but I wonder with someone like Harrison Phillips next to him on the defensive line, a guy who's a captain on this team, you would hope, and is a real leader in that locker room. I think he can get Tavondre Sweat motivated, and the kid's playing for a contract, right? Like, he's in year 3, he'll be going on year 4. Like, he needs to prove that he can be an everyday starter. I wonder if that guy can really be a huge impact force for this defense. Get some sacks, be that run stuffer that you were, and help make this defensive line actually a weapon for Aaron Glenn and this defense. Because could you imagine, Jake, if you got Harrison Phillips and Tavondre Sweat up the middle, stopping the run and making some impact up the middle, and then you could free up the one-on-ones for Will McDonald and David Bailey on the outside? You dream about the defense actually improving. I think Tavondre Sweat's a key. The Jets have not had Quinnen Williams was a superstar. I'm not saying Tavondre Sweat's going to be a superstar. But if you can get, I know this is crazy to compare, a Chris Jenkins-like impact from Tavondre Sweat, because that's who I liken him to, is like a big body who can make a huge, nasty, mean impact to that defense. It could be fun. But are you motivated, big boy? Are you ready to rock and roll and show that you are worth what that pick you got? And at the same time, that you can prove that you can be that reliable starter, because the word's still out on you. But the talent is undeniable. And that's why I think he's flying under the radar a little bit, because it's like you talk about Bailey, Sadiq, Cooper, D'Angelo Pons, talk about Minka Fitzpatrick joining the defense, Demario Davis, what is Jamie and Sherwood, all these guys, right? And then you talk about the offensive, Garrett, Breece, Geno, Mason Taylor. You're like, oh my God, Tavondre Sweat. We're not talking about him. And then when you see him on the field, Jake, when you see him on the field for the first time, you're going to go, Who the hell is that guy? Oh, it's Devondre Sweat. He's massive. So if he starts bulldozing Josh Myers and Joe Tippmann in practice, don't be surprised, man. He can make a real impact. I feel like there's a chance that you're going to see those tweets from Kaz and Hughes and those guys going, man, Devondre Sweat just wrecked a Breece Hall run in the first rep of 11-on-11. I could see it.
From your lips to God's ears. Love it. Ryan, where can people find you?
Listen, follow us on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel. We're going to be getting ready to rock and roll, just like Jake said, for Gangs All Here. We're going to have our training camp preview coming up here this week. And obviously, if you like Yankees baseball, I'll always throw that a plug. Do a fun show with Joel Sherman, Pinstripe Post, for all you Yankees fans who are also Jets fans. We talk about all things Yankees as they are currently going through another June swoon that carries into July, which carries into the trade deadline, which means you need reinforcements, which then they get you back in August and September when Judge comes back, and they'll hook you back in just like me and Jake, and then we're back in the playoffs, and they're probably a first-round exit again. But come tune in and watch us on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel as always, Jake.
Ryan does a great job, so definitely check it out. I highly recommend it, and he's got to keep Frankie V in line here because Frankie was wild at our event down in Atlantic City.
He's a weapon. He's a weapon.
Yeah. I like that term. He's a weapon. He's Ryan Sampson. My name is Jake Asman. Reminder, if you ever missed the YouTube show, it's available in audio form on Spotify and Apple. Check that out. You can search Jake Asman Show. It comes right up, and you can take the show on the go. Thanks for watching an abbreviated version of our show. Thanks to Ryan Sampson for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and we will talk to you next time here on the Jake Asman Show.
Hey, Asmaniacs, make sure to hit the like button and keep on supporting the Jake Asman Show.
That's right, Beast. If you don't subscribe to Jake Asman Show, the Jets will never win another game. Go Jets!